students, this is Tulika Banerjee from Forensic Science Unit, SGTB Khalsa College, University of Delhi, presenting this module on behalf of Ritu Sharma, Assistant Professor, Sanchi University of Buddhist Indic Studies, Bhopal. I am delighted to present this lecture on social stratification, which is taught in BA second semester. Before we start our chapter with the introduction of this chapter, let's look at the other modules we will study in this chapter. Module 1, Social Stratification, Definition and Origin. Module 2, Social Stratification, Types and Characteristics. Module 3 is regarding social stratification and social mobility. Module 4 is regarding systems of stratification, and the last module, which is module number 5, is regarding the conclusion. So, let us start our today's lecture with the introduction. Social inequality is a universal phenomenon in all societies. It can exist either in form of hierarchy of groups or individuals, or it may exist without the creation of a hierarchy. In the former case, it is called as social hierarchy, while in the latter case, it is known as social differentiation, for in almost all societies, men and women are treated unequally. If social inequality manifests itself in the form of a hierarchy involving ranking of groups, then it is known as social stratification. Thus, social stratification is a particular case of this social inequality. Stratification is a process of interaction or differentiation whereby some people come to rank higher than others. In one word, when individuals and groups are ranked according to some commonly accepted basis of valuation in a hierarchy of status, levels based upon the inequality of social positions, social stratification occurs. Social stratification means division of society into different strata or layers. It involves a hierarchy of social groups. Members of a particular layer have a common identity. They have a similar lifestyle. The Indian caste system provides an example of stratification system. The society in which divisions of social classes exist is known as a stratified society. Modern stratification fundamentally differs from stratification of primitive societies. Social stratification involves two phenomena. The first is differentiation of individuals or groups on the basis of possession of certain characteristics, whereby some individuals or groups come to rank higher than others. The ranking of individuals according to some basis of evaluation is the second point. Sociologists are concerned not merely with the facts of social differences, but also with their social evaluation. Students, in this introduction, I have given a brief outline on social stratification. In our first module, we will learn about definition and origin of social stratification. Let's look how some of the sociologists have defined the term social stratification. According to Ogburn and Nimkoff, the process by which individuals and groups are ranked in more or less enduring hierarchy of status is known as stratification. Lindbergh stated, "A stratified society is one marked by inequality, by differences among people that are evaluated by them as being lower and higher." Gisbert stated, "Social stratification is the division of society into permanent groups of categories linked with each other by the relationship of superiority and subordinations." According to Williams, social stratification refers to the ranking of individuals on a scale of superiority, inferiority, and the equality scale, according to some commonly accepted basis of valuation. According to Raymond W. Murray, social stratification is horizontal division of society into higher and lower social units. Melvin M. Tuman states that social stratification refers to arrangement of any social group or society into hierarchy of positions that are unequal with regard to power, property, social evaluation and psychic gratification. After these definitions, it is time to know how social stratification originated. Origination of stratification. Regarding the origin of stratification, many views have been given. According to Davis, social stratification has come into being due to the functional necessity of the social system. Professor Sorokin attributed social stratification mainly to inherited differences in environmental conditions. According to Karl Marx, social factors are responsible for the emergence of different social strata, that is, social stratification. Gumplewicz and other contended that the origin of social stratification is to be found in the conquest of one group by another. According to Spengler, social stratification is found upon scarcity, which is created whenever society differentiates positive in terms of functions and powers. Racial differences accompanied by dissimilarity also lead to stratification. Dear students, in this module you have learned about definitions of social stratification and its origin. I'll end this module here, and our next module we will discuss the different types and characteristics of social stratification. Social stratification is based upon a variety of principles. The major types of stratification are caste, class, estate, slavery. Now let us discuss each of the types briefly one by one. Caste is a hereditary endogamous social group in which a person's rank and its accompanying rights and obligations are ascribed on the basis of his birth into a particular group. For example, Brahmins, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas and Shudra caste. Class stratification on the basis of class is dominant in modern society. In this, a person's position depends to a very great extent upon achievement and his ability to use the advantage to the inborn characteristics and wealth that he may possess. Estate system of medieval Europe provides another system of stratification which gave much emphasis to birth as well as to wealth and possessions. Each estate had a state. Slavery had economic basis. In slavery, every slave had its master to whom he was subjected. The master's power over the slave was unlimited. Our next section deals with characteristics of social stratification. On the basis of the analysis of the different definitions given by eminent scholars, social stratification may have the following characteristics. Social stratification is universal, means there is no society in this world which is free from stratification. Modern stratification differs from stratification of primitive societies. It is a worldwide phenomenon. According to Sorokin, all permanently organized groups are stratified. Stratification is social. It is true that biological qualities do not determine one's superiority and inferiority. Factors like age, sex, intelligence as well as strength often contributes as a basis on which status are distinguished. But one's education, property, power, experience, character, personality, etc. are found to be more important than the biological qualities. Hence, stratification is social by nature. It is ancient. The stratification system is very old. It was present even in the small wandering bonds. In almost all the ancient civilizations, the differences between the rich and poor, humble and powerful existed. During the period of Plato and Kautilya, even emphasis was given to political, social and economic inequalities. It is diverse in forms. The forms of stratification are not uniform in all the societies. In the modern world, class, caste and state are the general forms of stratification. In India, a special type of stratification in the form of caste is found. The ancient Aryans were divided into 4 varnas: the Brahmins, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas and Shudras. The ancient Greeks were divided into freemen and slaves, and the ancient Romans were divided into the patricians and the plebeians. So, every society, past or present, big or small, is characterized by diverse forms of social stratification. Next is social stratification is consequential. Social stratification has 2 important consequences. One is life chances and the other one is lifestyle. A class system not only affects the life chances of the individuals but also their lifestyle. The members of a class have similar social chances, but the social chances vary in every society. It includes chances of survival and of good physical and mental health, opportunities for education, chances of obtaining justice, marital conflict, separation and divorce, etc. Lifestyle denotes a style of life which is distinctive of a particular social status. Lifestyles include such matters like the residential areas in every community which have gradations of prestige ranking, mode of housing, means of recreation, the kinds of dress, the kinds of books, TV shows to which one is exposed and so on. Lifestyle may be viewed as a subculture in which one stratum differs from another within the framework of a community, of a commonly shared overall culture. Dear students, in this module you have learned about the various types and characteristics of social stratification and characteristics of social stratification. This is the end of this module. In the next module, we will study about relationship between social stratification and social mobility. Social mobility refers to the movement within the social structure from one social position to another. It means a change in social status. All societies provide some opportunity for social mobility, but the societies differ from each other to extent in which individuals can move from one class or status level to another. It is said that greater the amount of social mobility, the more open the class structure. The concept of social mobility has fundamental importance in ascertaining the relative openness of a social structure. The nature, forms, direction and magnitude of social mobility depends on the nature and types of social stratification. Sociologists study social mobility in order to find out the relative openness of a social structure. Any group that improves its standard will also improve its social status. But the rate of social mobility is not uniform in all the countries. It differs from society to society from time to time. In India, the rate of mobility is naturally low because of agriculture being the predominant occupation and the continuity of caste system as compared to the other countries of the world. Now let us see what are the different types of social mobility. Types of social mobility. In social stratification, the movement occurs in 3 directions: from lower to higher, from higher to lower, between 2 positions at the same level. So, based on the movements, the social mobility is of 2 types. One, is the vertical mobility and the second one is the horizontal mobility. We will briefly look into each of these types. First one is the vertical mobility. It refers to the movement of people from one stratum to another or from one status to another. It brings changes in class, occupation and power. It involves movement from lower to higher or from higher to lower. There are two types of vertical mobility. One is the upward and the other one is the downward mobility. When an individual moves from the lower status to higher status, it is called as upward mobility. For example, if the son of a peon joins a bank as an officer, it is said to be an upward social mobility. But if he loses the job due to any other reason or inefficiency, he is downwardly mobile from his previous job. So, downward mobility takes place when a person moves down from one position to another and change his status. The next type is horizontal mobility. It refers to the movement of people from one social group to another situated at the same level. It means that the ranks of these two groups are not different. It indicates change in position without the change in status. For example, if a teacher leaves one school and joins another school, or a bank officer leaves one branch to work in another, or change of residence is the horizontal mobility. Apart from the two broad types of social stratification, there are two other types of social stratification in terms of dimension of time. First, the intergenerational mobility. When changes in status occur from one generation to another, it is called as intergenerational mobility. For example, if the son changes his status either by taking upon occupation of higher or lower rank with that of his father, there is intergenerational mobility taking place. The next one is intra-generational mobility. When changes in status occur within one generation, it is called as intra-generational mobility. For example, the rise and fall in the occupational structure of a family, which leads to changes in its social status within one generation, is called as intra-generational mobility. Dear students, I hope now you all know the relationship between the social stratification and social mobility. Here I will end this module and we shall discuss about systems of stratification in our next module. Dear students, in this module we will discuss the various systems of stratification. The first is stratification and caste. Under the caste system, status is hereditary. It is based on birth. It is purely an ascribed status. Once such positions are assigned, they cannot advance and improve their social status in any way. Hence, caste as a major type of social stratification does not facilitate vertical social mobility. Caste systems are closed stratification systems in which people can do little or nothing to change their social standing. A caste system is one in which people are born into their social standing and will remain in it their whole lives. People are assigned occupations regardless of their talents, interests or potential. There are virtually no opportunities to improve one's social position. In the Hindu caste tradition, people were expected to work in the occupation of their caste and to enter into marriage according to their caste. Accepting this social standing was considered a moral duty. Cultural values reinforce the system. Caste systems promote beliefs in fate, destiny and the will of a higher power rather than promoting individual freedom as a value. A person who lived in a caste society was socialized to accept his or her social standing. Although the caste system in India has been officially dismantled, its residual presence in Indian society is deeply embedded. In rural areas, aspects of the tradition are more likely to remain, while urban centers show less evidence of this past. In India's larger cities, people now have more opportunities to choose their own career paths and marriage partners. As a global center of employment, corporations have introduced merit-based hiring and employment to the nation. Next, we will discuss about social stratification and class. Class is an open system. Under this system, vertical mobility is absolutely free. Movement from one status to another has no barrier. Status is based on achievement. It is determined by the talents, wealth, money, intelligence, power, education, income, etc. of a person. There is no inheritance of parental status. A class system is based on both the social factors and individual achievement. A class consists of a set of people who share similar status with regard to factors like wealth, income, education and occupation. Unlike caste systems, class systems are open. People are free to gain a different level of education or employment than their parents. They can also socialize with and marry members of other classes, allowing people to move from one class to another. In a class system, occupation is not fixed at birth. Though family and other societal models help guide a person towards a career, personal choice plays a role. In class systems, people have the option to form exogamous marriages, unions of spouses from different social categories. Marriage in these circumstances is based on values such as love and compatibility rather than on social standing or economics. Though social conformities still exist that encourage people to choose partners within their own class, people are not as pressured to choose marriage partners based solely on those elements. Third system of stratification is gender. Like caste and class, gender is another kind of social stratification system. Gender perhaps is the oldest and permanent source of social differentiation. But within the broad hierarchy of caste and class, gender cuts across caste and class. In present-day Indian society, caste, class and gender are dynamic phenomena which vary between groups, communities and regions. Recent years have witnessed a thorough and widespread discussion on gender. It has claimed critical address within gender as a concept and as a set of practices has occurred during the last 3 decades. The origin of the concept gender can be traced to the 19th century, women's movement and in Marxism, but it seems to have first appeared among American feminists who wanted to reject biological determinism. Feminists prefer the term gender than sex. But the term gender means much more than sex and more inclusive than sex. It is a socially constructed category rather than biologically determined. The gender of a man is masculine and a woman is feminine. Neither a man nor a woman is sex alone. Gender refers to the socially constructed and culturally determined role that men and women play in their day-to-day lives. Gender is a most potent, significant and enormously useful analytical concept used by the feminists. Gender is the most potent, significant and enormously useful analytical concept used by the feminists. It is a matter of social ascription, a socio-cultural construction and provided a deeper analysis of inequalities existing between male and female. It refers to the social institutionalization of sexual difference. In feminist literature, gender is not a value-free concept rather a value-loaded term and has acquired new dimensions. It is a conceptual tool for analysis and is used to highlight the different structural relationships of inequality between men and women. As a socially constructed differences and relations between males and females, it varies from time to time and from place to place. Gender is defined as the social construction of relations between women and men and among various groups of women and men. Feminists consider gender as a socio-cultural manifestation of being a man or a woman. According to N. Kabir, gender is seen as the process by which individuals are born into biological categories of male or female, become the social categories of men and women through the acquisition of locally defined attributes of masculinity and femininity. According to A. Masefield, gender can be defined as a notion that offers a set of frameworks within which the social and ideological construction and representation of differences between sexes are explained. According to ILO, gender refers to the social differences and relations between men and women which are learned, which vary widely among societies and cultures and change over time. Thus, gender involves power structure and economic relationships. It is used to analyze the role, responsibilities, constraints, needs of men and women in all areas. It encompasses the social division and cultural distinctions between women and men. It plays an important role in shaping institutions and practices in every society. Fourth system of stratification is gender and sex. The term gender does not replace the term sex. It is necessary to distinguish between sex and gender. The distinction between sex and gender is fundamental since many differences between males and females are not biological in origin. Sex refers to the physical differences of body, whereas gender refers to social, cultural, and psychological differences between males and females. Sex refers to biological differences between male and female, which are much more the same over time and space, whereas gender refers to socially and culturally constructed differences and relations between males and females, which vary from place to place and from time to time. Sex refers to male and female, whereas gender refers to masculinity and femininity. Gender is a structural feature of a society. The last system of social stratification is meritocracy system. Meritocracy system is another system of social stratification in which personal effort or merit determines social standing. High levels of effort will lead to a high social position and vice versa. The concept of meritocracy is an ideal that is, a society has never existed where social rank was based purely on merit. Because of the complex structure of societies, processes like socialization, and the realities of economic systems, social standing is influenced by multiple factors and not merit alone. Inheritance and pressure to conform to norms, for instance, disrupt the notion of a pure meritocracy. Sociologists see aspects of meritocracies in modern societies when they study the role of academic performance and job performance and the systems in place for evaluating and rewarding achievement in these areas. Dear students, you all have seen the various systems of social stratification. This is the end of this module. Now, let us conclude this module. Social stratification refers to a society's categorization of its people into rankings of socio-economic tiers based on factors like wealth, income, race, education, and power. Society's layers are made of people, and society's resources are distributed unevenly throughout the layers. The people who have more resources represent the top layer of the social structure of stratification. Other groups of people with progressively fewer and fewer resources represent the lower layers of our society. Sociologists recognize that social stratification is a society-wide system that makes inequalities apparent. While there are always inequalities between individuals, sociologists are interested in larger social patterns. Stratification is not about individual inequalities, but about systematic inequalities based on group membership, classes, and the like. No individual, rich or poor, can be blamed for social inequalities. A person's social standing is affected by the structure of society. Although individuals may support or fight inequalities, social stratification is created and supported by society as a whole. Dear students, this brings to the end of this module and today's lecture. I hope you have learned in detail about social stratification. Do keep in mind what we discussed today. I'll be back with one more lecture in this series. If you want to learn more and enhance your knowledge, you may log on to our website www.cec.nic.in for MCQ, quizzes, LWARs, etc. Make sure you revise the modules frequently so that you master the topic well and take up the exercises. Thank you for your time today. I'll see you in the next lecture. Keep learning, work hard, and do revise the chapter. Goodbye.